Every night, when you lay your head upon the pillow and close your eyes, you think you are merely falling into sleep. The world of the waking fades away, and you believe that your mind rests, its worries set aside. But what if I told you that this is the greatest lie ever whispered in your ear? What if everything you've been taught about sleep was merely a well-crafted illusion designed to mask the truth? For the truth is, when you sleep, you are not unconscious, you are journeying. Your consciousness slips free from the shackles of your body, venturing beyond the veil, into other dimensions, into other worlds, into parallel timelines. And this is not a theory, nor some fringe belief. This is ancient knowledge repressed, hidden, buried deep beneath the sands of time. You see, when you sleep, if you truly remembered who you are, the world around you would crumble. Sleep is not rest. It is a rehearsal for death. But not in the terrifying way you've been taught to fear it. This is a passage, a crossing, the departure of the soul, mimicking the transition from the physical form into the unknown, as your body lies still beneath the weight of your slumber. And here's the wildest part. You've done this over and over, yet forgotten each time. Forgotten because that was the plan. From the ancient Egyptians to the Tibetan monks, from the secret schools of Atlantis to the hidden communities who guarded the sacred manuscripts, this knowledge was always known. The dream world is no mere fantasy. It is real, sacred. And it is where your consciousness returns every night. But you were programmed to believe otherwise. You were conditioned to see dreams as nothing more than the scattered fragments of your brain, a jumble of memories and noise. Because if you knew the truth, if you realized that the self you encounter in your dreams is the true self, then everything you know about life, reality, and control would collapse. Fear, manipulation, control, all of it would vanish in an instant. The ancient texts spoke of the astral plane for a reason. Mystics from the Gnostics to the Hermetics, every tradition taught of dream states, soul journeys, and out-of-body experiences. They understood your body may be still, but your spirit moves. Your awakening is happening in the spaces between sleep and wakefulness. But ask yourself, why was none of this taught to you? Why are dreams reduced to mere entertainment, to something that is laughed off and ignored? Why do mainstream scientists and even government agencies like the CIA shy away from discussing astral travel? Because once you realize where you go during sleep, you will cease to fear death. You will stop fearing the unknown, and when you stop fearing, you stop obeying. When you sleep, your brain shifts into theta and delta waves. These waves open a portal between the physical and the non-physical, like tuning a radio to a frequency you can't quite grasp. Suddenly, you are no longer limited by your five senses. Gravity, time, logic, none of it binds you anymore. You become something else, something greater, something older. And if you've ever woken from a dream feeling more real than anything in the waking world, that is because it is. You weren't dreaming, you were there. You visited a realm that exists parallel to this one. A place where thoughts shape reality in an instant. A realm where you can meet other souls, revisit past lives, glimpse future timelines. The astral world is not fantasy. It is the next layer of existence. And every night, you traverse it. Only you don't remember. But there was a book, a forbidden book, that didn't just hint at this truth, but revealed it. A manuscript so powerful, it was burned and buried by every institution that sought to keep you in the dark. For this book didn't merely speak of dreams. It mapped the entire structure of death and the afterlife. It showed exactly what happens when consciousness leaves the body and how to be aware of it. How to awaken within the dream and take control. Reconstructed from fragments of ancient Egyptian sacred texts, Tibetan dream yoga, Gnostic gospels, and the secret teachings of the Hermetic order, this book made one thing crystal clear. You are not your body. You never were. You are awareness, pure consciousness, experiencing life in a temporary form, And every night, your soul tries to remind you. Through symbols, through metaphors, it calls you to remember, to wake up. But you ignore it because you were trained to. You were trained to ignore your dreams, to laugh them off, to dismiss them as nothing more than a fleeting thought. But what if the truth was hidden in plain sight? What if your soul's deepest journey happens every 24 hours and you simply never learned to see it? Your ancestors did not dismiss their dreams. They saw them as divine messages, initiations, warnings. The Egyptians believed the dream world was a dimension entered through duat, a hidden realm accessed only during sleep. The Tibetans believed that the clearer and more aware you became in your dreams, the more control you would have in death. For the journey you travel in sleep is the same you will take when your body dies. But this goes deeper. For these ancient teachings were not just mystical. They were practical. They taught how to preserve awareness after the body falls asleep. They taught how to consciously leave the body, and most importantly, how to navigate the dream world with purpose. What if you could do that too? What if you could remember? Because here's the secret most people don't know. You've already done it. You've already left your body. You've astral traveled countless times. You just weren't conscious of it. The sensation of falling as you drift to sleep, the sudden jolt that wakes you up, those are moments when your consciousness misaligns with your physical body. The feeling of floating, suspended between sleep and wakefulness, that is the beginning of the separation. You've been doing this. You've always been doing this. You just weren't trained to notice, and they've kept you blind to it. Because if, from childhood, you were taught to understand the symbols and awaken within the dream, you would become a master traveler, a soul voyager, a conscious explorer of other dimensions. And that would be dangerous for them. Because once you master the dream world, you begin to ask questions you're not supposed to ask. You begin to remember things you're not supposed to remember. Past lives, soul contracts, timelines, the architecture of reality itself. And suddenly, the 9-to-5 system feels like a prison. The media feels like a spell. The rules of this world feel optional, because you've touched something else, something real, something infinite. And once you touch it, there is no going back. That is why the ancients created rituals around sleep. They did not simply lie down, hoping to dream. No, they prepared themselves, bodies cleansed, minds sharpened. Ancient mantras echoed softly, their vibrations weaving through the air like a sacred chant. Symbols ancient, revered, forgotten, were placed beside their heads, as if whispering secrets to the unseen forces of the universe. They knew what was coming. They knew. For them, sleep was not a mere escape. It was a passage, a conscious crossing from one world to another. They understood that to leave this world behind was no accident, no unconscious drifting. It was a ritual, a sacred journey, undertaken with intention, not confusion. You, however, have learned a different way. You've learned to collapse into bed, exhausted, your mind cluttered with fleeting distractions. You fill the final moments of the day with screens, flooding your consciousness with noise, until the sweet release of oblivion takes you. But you forget oblivion is not peace. It is the familiar embrace of ignorance, of control. Because awareness is dangerous. It disrupts the illusion. It shatters the fabric of the story you've been told to believe. Remember that moment you woke from a dream so vivid, so real you could swear the world you just left behind was more true than the one around you. The colors, the sounds, the emotions, they were thick, palpable. Faces you thought you'd never see again, places you never thought you'd visit. It all felt familiar, almost like you had been there before. This is not fantasy. This is not coincidence. This is memory. Your conscious mind cannot explain it, but your soul knows the truth. When your body rests, your awareness is not still. It drifts. It travels through realms beyond time, beyond space. It explores. It reaches into alternate timelines, tapping into possibilities you've never considered. It reconnects with your higher self, touching parts of you that you cannot see with your eyes. And sometimes it works through karmic patterns you've yet to understand. Does this feel familiar? That strange pull when you meet someone new, and it's as if you've known them for eons. The inexplicable bond strong, inevitable, that quickens your pulse, leaves your heart pounding. Déjà vu, that rush, that sense of recognition. It's not random. It's not chance. It's the echo of where you've been. But now, here's where it gets deep, because sleep is not an escape. It is access. It is access to the truth of who you are. A soul stretched across eons, experiences piled upon one another like layers of sediment. And every night, you return to those layers. The only question that remains is, will you remember? The forbidden texts, woven together across centuries, tell us something extraordinary. The soul does not dream in metaphors. Dreams speak a language of symbols, of archetypes, of truths hidden from the conscious mind. A lion in your dream. It is not just a lion. It could be the forgotten power you once held. That endless hallway, stretching on it, is not just architecture. It could be a portal. And that face you keep seeing, the one you swear you know, it could be a guide, or a version of you from another realm. The more you pay attention, the more you realize this physical world, it is but a layer of a much greater dream. And once you see it, once you know it, everything changes. This is why this knowledge is kept from you. Because when you reclaim your sleep, you reclaim your sovereignty. No longer will the night cast its shadow over you. You will enter it with clarity, with purpose. And the illusions, the lies woven into your waking life, they will begin to fall away like shadows in the dawn. Now imagine this. Tonight, you lie down with intention. You whisper to yourself, I will remember where I go. I will awaken within the dream, and you will. You'll find yourself in a realm more vivid than anything you've ever known. You'll realize you can move without walking. You'll find you can fly without wings. And you'll feel it, that presence. Someone beside you, an old friend, a guide, a version of you from beyond time. And suddenly everything makes sense. This is you. This is who you've forgotten. When you wake, that moment will stay with you. It will linger like an echo, coloring your day, shifting your choices. You won't move like one scrambling to survive. You will move like someone who remembers their power, their true nature. There's a reason children dream so vividly. There's a reason they still talk to invisible friends, describe flying through the sky, know things they've never been taught. They haven't forgotten. The veil has not yet closed for them. Their awareness has not yet been programmed, but slowly, as they grow, the world tells them it's just a dream. And so, they forget. The door closes softly, quietly, but the door can open again. The ancient practice of Tibetan dream yoga exists for just this purpose. Because, as the masters say, death is not an end. It is another transition, one just like sleep. The space between the two is the same. And if you can hold your awareness in that space, you can control your transition. You can choose whether to return, whether to evolve, whether to rise. The forbidden texts speak of this. Sleep is a rehearsal for death. If you master it, you transcend fear forever. Yet, modern science scoffs at this while its own institutions quietly investigate out of body experiences, remote viewing, and the mechanics of consciousness leaving the body. If you dig deep enough, you'll uncover the declassified documents, the gateway process, Monroe Institute, government-funded research that shows human consciousness can travel beyond space and time. Why is this hidden from you? Because once you understand the truth of sleep, you become uncontrollable, you become free, and a population that remembers its immortality. It cannot be manipulated. You can't sell distractions to someone who wakes with messages from their higher self. They poison your water, fill your eyes with the unnatural blue glow. They bombard your subconscious with programs designed to erase all that you are, all that you could be. And the moment you slip into sleep, unaware, they claim victory. But not anymore. Not tonight. Tonight you reclaim what is yours. It begins simply. Before you close your eyes, speak to yourself aloud, or in the quiet sanctuary of your mind. Tonight, I will remember my dreams. Tonight, I will awaken within them. And when you wake, when the veil of slumber lifts, keep a notebook by your side. Even if the fragments are broken, write them down. If they make no sense, do not fear. They need not make sense. They are but a code. And in time, that code will sharpen into clarity. You will see patterns emerging, repeating symbols, faces unfamiliar yet known, places that seem to call you, beckoning you back. This is the emergence of your astral map, your soul laid bare. It is a map to your deepest self, showing you where you are, where you've been, and where you are meant to go. And if you choose to follow it, your dreams will begin to offer more than just fleeting images. You will remember who you truly are. Have you ever woken more tired than when you went to bed? Not because your body is weary, but because your consciousness has been elsewhere, engaged in travels of its own. You have been journeying. You have been fighting battles, some karmic, some ancestral, some rooted deep in the collective unconscious. And yet, still they tell you it's all in your mind, that your dreams are mere psychological noise. But somewhere, deep within, you know that isn't true. You know, because you have felt at the vividness of dreams that linger, scenes so clear they carve themselves into the very fabric of your memory. Faces you cannot forget. Emotions that strike you like waves. Why do you remember them so clearly? Because they were not dreams. They were visits, encounters, missions. You were not merely dreaming. You were somewhere. Have you ever experienced sleep paralysis? That moment when your body is frozen, but your mind is wide awake. You feel it's something with you in the room, something watching, something real. That, my friend, is when you've already touched the veil. You've glimpsed the edge of what lies beyond. Sleep paralysis, they call it. But it is simply the moment when your awareness catches up with your consciousness. You are in the middle of a journey. What you feel is not an illusion. It is the presence of another dimension slipping through the cracks of reality. Most people panic in this state. But there is no need, not when you understand. You can use it. You can balance yourself. You can rise above. And in that rise, you may see truths about yourself that no textbook could ever teach you. Your body is but a vessel. A sacred cup, yes, but a temporary one. Your consciousness is not confined within your brain. It is merely a receiver, a filter. You are not the thoughts that pass through your mind. You are the observer behind them. And when you sleep, that observer pulls the plug on the physical, returning to its source. That source, whether you call it the astral plane, the etheric realm, or the dream world, is where you go each night. It is the other side, and you visit it with every sleep. You may call it the astral codex, the forbidden book, the secret guide. Sleep is the most accessible, the most regular spiritual experience available to every human being. No priest, no temple, no guru is required. All you need is stillness. All you need is trust. Trust that everything they've told you, the story they've fed you, isn't the whole truth. Trust that what you feel deep within, in your bones, is right. You were never meant to forget your nights. This forgetfulness is the result of mental clutter, the intervention of spiritual pollution. But there are ways to cleanse it. There are practices that reopen the door, simple rituals before sleep, breathing exercises, pineal gland activation, sacred sound frequencies, visualization techniques passed down from ancient tribes. These are not trends, they are keys. The keys to the realms you've been locked out of since birth. Now, imagine this tonight. Instead of drifting into oblivion, you feel your energy body begin to relax. A soft hum, a gentle feeling of floating. Your mind becomes clear. calm, focused. You are not moving physically, but consciously you are rolling, hovering just above your bed. You turn, and you see your body still asleep, lying beneath you, and in that moment, you know you are not that body. You are not your name. You are not your struggles. You are awareness itself, pure, limitless, fearless. Then, the room disappears. You are no longer bound by walls. You no longer walk by steps, but by thought. You imagine a mountain, and you are there. You feel the presence of a loved one who has passed, and suddenly they are not just a memory. They are a living, glowing spirit, speaking to you not with words, but through feeling. And in that moment, you do not question. You remember. You remember the language. You remember the existence. It was always within you. You just needed to wake up. When you return, it is not simply waking. It is coming back, carrying with you a piece of the realm you touched. A download. A shift. A knowing that stays with you throughout the day. You begin to see the world differently. You feel the lies people tell. You feel the energy in the room. You trust your instincts more. Because something within you has been awakened. This is when the dream stops being just a dream. It becomes a mission. Because you are no longer simply sleeping. You are traveling with purpose. You are healing. You are gathering knowledge. You are rewriting timelines. You are reclaiming pieces of yourself, fragments lost in lives past. You become the lucid traveler, the conscious dreamer, the remembering soul. And this, my friend, is exactly what the ancient texts were trying to teach us before they were buried or rewritten. The Book of the Dead was never about fear. It was a map, a guide to navigating the unseen. The Emerald Tablets were never just about alchemy. They were explaining how reality works. The Gnostic writings didn't only rebel against the church. They revealed that the material world is a simulation, and that the real world begins when you close your eyes. This knowledge has not been lost. It has been guarded by those who understood its power. Because if every person realized they are multi-dimensional beings, if they began to remember where they go when they sleep, the system would crumble overnight. You cannot trap a free soul. You cannot sell fear to someone who walks among stars and spirits. This is why they do everything in their power to keep you blind. But the moment you remember, everything changes. The curtain rises, and once it does, it cannot be drawn back. Perhaps that's why you're here. Perhaps you didn't just stumble upon this by accident. Maybe your soul guided you here, led you to this moment. A quiet nudge, a flicker of a spark. You're slipping into sleep, and with it, you begin to forget. Something feels amiss, but you can't place it. Something is lacking. But what? It's you, the real you. The version of you who watches yourself sleep. The one who flies through portals. The one who speaks with beings of light and shadow with equal courage. The one who knows this world is not the only one. And now, you're remembering. You're beginning to remember. And with it, the cracks in the story you've been told become visible. Sleep is not unconsciousness. It's a doorway they never wanted you to pass through. A threshold to something beyond. And the moment you stop treating your nights as mere time to waste, that's when the transformation begins. That's when you start to reclaim your life. Your most powerful hours lie not in your waking moments, but in those when your body surrenders to the darkness and your spirit awakens. These are the hours when the veil is thinnest, when you're closest to your true essence. Unbound by the body, unsullied by logic, untouched by programming, your consciousness extends like a beam of light, seeking connection, seeking memory, seeking meaning. The more aware you become, the more you bring back with you. Images that don't belong to this world. Emotions, sounds, sights from realities where you made different choices. Moments from other lives still resonating in your heart. Distant thunder from another time, another place. This is what dreams are. Not fantasies, not hallucinations, but data. Spiritual downloads that your waking mind struggles to process. so they turn into symbols. Your childhood home, a lost loved one, the stairs you keep climbing but never reaching the top. These are not just fragments of your soul. These are echoes from the astral keys that unlock your soul's library. The Forbidden Book calls this process dimensional remembrance. It says that even when you're awake, you're always dreaming. But when you sleep, the filters fall away. The noise disappears, and your true awareness, like a shadow waiting to be seen, emerges. And when it does, you don't speak in words. You speak with knowing, a certainty that cannot be explained, but cannot be ignored. You wake up and feel that something has shifted. And this knowing, this silent certainty, it's power. The kind of power that frightens those who thrive off your sleepwalking. Because here's the truth they don't want you to hear. There's a battle inside your mind, a quiet war. A war waged without weapons, but with distractions. Blue light that disrupts your circadian rhythm. Chemicals that calcify your pineal gland. Content that teaches your brain to forget what meaning feels like. And forgetting has been made normal. Spiritual amnesia is paraded as success. You wake up groggy, chasing caffeine. But the moment you wake up and remember your dream, and while you dream it, you start to break the spell. You begin to wonder what else they've been hiding from you. And if you wonder long enough, you'll begin to see the cracks. The manipulation, the code. Because yes, reality is a code, and sleep is your access to the source. Every night, when you enter the theta state, your consciousness connects to the quantum field, the realm where all potential exists. A place beyond the veil of form. And in that place, intention is law, thought is architecture, emotion is movement. This is where manifestations don't just appear on vision boards, but are birthed in the astral planes where your soul treads while your body sleeps. This is why so many feel stuck. They work tirelessly in the physical, but neglect the spiritual. They forget that dreams are the true reality. The ancients knew this. That's why initiation always begins in sleep. That's why mystery schools train their masters to dream consciously before they ever allow them to speak the sacred words. Because if you can't command your consciousness in dream state, you're not ready to manage it in waking life. Without awareness, power corrupts. But without power, awareness becomes futile. Most live this way. They feel the truth, but they've forgotten how to move within it. But you haven't forgotten. You were born with this ability. Only your attention was scattered, and that's not your fault. The system was designed this way. From your childhood, you were taught that the physical world was the only world. That what can't be measured doesn't exist. That dreams are nonsense. Remnants of stress that the mind discards. But what if I told you the opposite? What if your waking life is the dream, and your dreams are the awakening? Because when you sleep, you're not closing your eyes. You're opening them to something far greater. You step into the cosmic gateway, your soul reconnecting with the ancient network that holds all memory, every truth, every forgotten whisper of the universe. It pulses, waiting for you to listen. If you tune in, you'll notice the subtle threads, the patterns, the guidance, the signs that have always been there, unseen. A face appears in your dreams, someone you haven't spoken to in years, and the very next day, they reach out to you. Symbols flash in your waking world, nonsensical at first, until a moment arrives when their meaning falls into place. Something stirs in your sleep, a warning, a quiet tremor in the dark. And only in hindsight do you realize this was no mere dream. It was a lifeline pulling you away from danger. These are not coincidences. These are echoes. Messages sent from your higher self, your guides, or even you from another timeline. Messages passed to you from beyond the veil, waiting for you to listen. The more you honor these dreams, the clearer their voices become, rising above the din of the mundane. You begin to form a relationship with the unseen, not as a mere escape into oblivion, but as a sacred initiation. Every time you sleep, An ancient teaching whispers. Your soul reviews the energy of day, the emotions you've carried, the things you've avoided, what you've learned, and then it chooses which realm to enter, not randomly, but in resonance with your state. Low vibrations pull you into chaotic, fragmented dreamscapes, while high frequencies open you to realms of clarity and transcendence. That's why the emotional state you carry into your sleep matters more than you realize. The argument, the fear, the distractions you've clung to, these are the currents that will direct your journey. In those final moments before sleep, the thoughts you hold, the energy you embrace, become the compass for where you'll travel. You can fall asleep in anger and wake to weariness, or you can surrender to gratitude and rise in clarity. It's all there, waiting. Insights, energies that feel as if they're from somewhere else because they are. You see, you were never meant to enter the dream world passively. The ancient dreamwalkers, shamans, mystics, they did not simply sleep. They journeyed. They asked questions before sleep, and by dawn, answers came. They met with their ancestors, received visions of the future, and never doubted that the dream world was as real as the waking one. Real as breath, real as light, real as you. Some of the most advanced civilizations built their entire systems on the dream realm. In Egypt, priests spent their nights in sacred temples, communing with the unseen. In indigenous cultures, children were trained from a young age to understand their dreams as spiritual teachings. In the East, monks would meditate until their bodies slept, but their awareness remained connected online. This wasn't superstition. It was spiritual science. But here, in this modern world, we've lost our way. We've traded the sacredness of sleep for the addiction to the screen. We've fallen asleep to the hum of artificial frequencies, the flicker of lights that hijack our energy, that distort the natural process. And now, we wonder why we wake lost, disconnected, numb. We've been severed from the point of access to the higher mind, the gateway to our highest intelligence, and we've been told it was never there. But it was, and it still is. There is an ancient teaching that speaks of the silver cord, the thread that connects the physical body to the astral form. When the body sleeps, the cord doesn't snap. It stretches, allowing the soul to roam freely, still tethered but liberated. And in this roaming you are boundless, limitless, but only if you are aware, only if you remember, for you've been programmed, since childhood, to forget. They never taught you how to dream. They never taught you how to decode visions. Because if they did, you would stop seeking answers from outside sources. You would stop complying with the systems designed to weaken you. You would begin trusting yourself, acting from your own inner power. And that is the greatest fear of all. That's why keeping a dream journal is one of the most rebellious spiritual acts you can perform. Writing down your dreams is a declaration. You will not let the fog of forgetfulness take hold. You remember. Your intuition is more powerful than their headlines. It's not just a journal. It's a map of your multidimensional worlds. Every dream is a breadcrumb, every symbol a key. Every night, you are reading a chapter of a book only you can decipher. And if you keep reading, something extraordinary happens. You begin to dream while awake. You catch moments too precise to be mere coincidence. You see repeating numbers, hear messages hidden in songs, feel the threads of synchronicity weaving through your day. Your mind and soul are in harmony now. You are no longer just one person. You are the bridge between worlds. And that's when you realize it. The real conspiracy isn't what they've done to your body. It's what they've done to your dreams. Without your dreams, your story is lost. You forget why you came here. You forget that this body, this life, this timeline was never a punishment, it was a mission. And that mission didn't start the day you were born. It began long before, in the realms where your waking mind has never been. And every night, when you return to those realms for guidance, for healing, for remembering you continue. So the next time you lay your head down to sleep, don't collapse into it. Prepare, protect your energy, set your intention, speak to your higher self. Ask the questions that burn in your heart, and listen, for the answers will come maybe not in words, maybe not immediately, but in signs, in symbols, in dreams that will follow you until you cannot ignore them. And when you do this, the world will begin to open. It will bend in your favor. Your clarity will shine brighter. For you won't just be living anymore. You'll be remembering who you are, a dreamer of worlds. A part of you already knows everything I've said is true. It's not new information. It's an ancient memory buried beneath the layers of distraction, beneath the noise. But the truth has never left you. It speaks in the quiet moments, in the soft pulse of déjà vu, in the strange familiarity of a place you've never been, in the dreams that feel more like home than your waking life. And once you truly begin to listen, the truth will speak louder. Sleep is not passive. It is not a break. It is the continuation of your story behind the scenes. It is where you face the shadows you ignored during the day. It is where your soul pulls you aside and whispers, "Look, this is what's real." Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it screams. But it always speaks. The question is, are you listening? Think of how much of your life you've spent asleep. A third of your existence. It's no accidents, no waste. It's design. Every night you return not to rest, but to realign. To remember the truth beneath the performance. To unravel the illusions of the day and reconnect with the source. And that source isn't out there. It's not in the sky. It's always been within you. You just forgot how to access it. You were trained to forget. But now, you're starting to remember. There is a truth hidden in the folds of our existence that no scientist, no professor, no monk has ever fully explained. Why do some dreams predict the future? Why, before you've even met someone in waking life, do you encounter them in your dreams? Why can the deceased send messages? Why can a simple slumber heal the deepest wounds of the soul? These are not anomalies. These are reminders. They speak to the vastness of your consciousness, a consciousness not bound by neurons, not limited to synapses or skin. You are a soul playing in realms far beyond what you've been taught to understand. When you dream, you step beyond the confines of this dimension and return to the true expanse, quantum fields, energetic landscapes where all timelines coexist. And here, in this sacred space, intention is the key. This is why, in dreams, you can soar through the skies, breathe beneath the depths of the sea, pass through walls, speak to beings without uttering a word. You are not tethered to physical laws. You are free, unbound. You experience reality in its purest form. Thought transfigures into form, emotion becomes landscape, and intention manifests as fate itself. Yet, this is not forbidden. The map to these realms has been left for you, drawn in the book of your soul. It describes places you've been but cannot yet name. Color worlds vibrant beyond imagining, structures built from sound and memory, beings of light who guide without speaking, libraries that contain the records of your soul's journey. But, yes, there is darkness too. Unresolved energy lingers in forgotten corners, where fear and attachment birth dense, unsettling atmospheres. These places are not here to harm you. They are here to teach you, to offer you the opportunity to face your own unhealed echoes, because that is the nature of this path. True healing, true remembering, is about gathering the fragmented pieces scattered across dimensions, across lifetimes, across experiences. And sleep is the bridge, the return to that wholeness. You were never meant to fear the dark. You were meant to see through it, to enter the dreamscape and say, "Show me what I must see." This takes courage. It takes trust. But once you do, something shifts. The dream clarifies, the shadows become allies. And you become the master of your inner universe. Clarity in dreams isn't about flying or performing tricks. It is a form of spiritual sovereignty. It is the way you train your consciousness to remain awake, even when the world around you insists otherwise. Here in this realm, you will uncover the questions the physical world cannot answer. Who am I? Why am I here? What contracts did I make? What is my next step? These are the questions your dreams carry, cloaked in symbolism, synchrony, and the deep wisdom of your spirit. And when you begin to ask, you will begin to receive. But there is one thing you must do. Treat your dreams with the same reverence as you would any other truth in your life, because they are real. In fact, they may even be more real. All ancient traditions speak of this truth: life is but a dream, and we are the dreamers. The only difference between wakefulness and sleep is the intensity of the illusion. Have you felt it? That shift when you recognize that your dream was not just a random event, but a precise, sacred adjustment made to your soul's evolution. You may dismiss it, or you may heed the call. One choice opens the door, the other keeps it shut. And this door, it always waits, opening every night, inviting you to pass through with awareness or stumble blindly through the shadows. But the more you choose awareness, the more you will see. You will see what they never wanted you to see. You will realize that reality is not fixed, that you, the creator, are the one bending it, that the dream world is not just an escape, it is the proving ground, the testing space for your soul. And as you begin to see, you will start noticing the subtle shifts in your day, the moments between thoughts, the strange way reality seems to warp with intention, how your body responds to unseen forces. You will wake and feel your dreams on your skin. You will remember faces, names, colors that do not belong to this world, but stir ancient memories in your soul. You will no longer fumble through the confusion between worlds. You will live with mastery. This is what they never wanted you to know, that once you see sleep not as an escape, but as an access point, the illusion crumbles. Fear dies, and with it, all the systems built upon it. You will stop fearing death. You will stop fearing the unknown. You will stop fearing the future, because you have seen what lies beyond, not through blind faith, but through direct experience. You have walked through it. You have flowed through it. And now, at last, you remember. You've heard it all your life that your dreams fade, vanish with the morning light. But what if that fading isn't natural? What if it is by design? For the longer you forget, the longer they remain in control. And the moment you begin to remember, truly remember, your power returns. You stop asking permission. You stop seeking answers from the outside, because you realize you already know. You always have known. That feeling, when a dream clings to you all day long, a haunting, lingering, undeniable presence. It is not your imagination. It is your soul pulling you back to the truth. Your dreams are not random symbols. They are messages from parts of you that have been waiting for the night to speak. They will not remain silent forever, because these symbols, they are not fiction. They are pieces of a higher vision. Your consciousness is peering into greater dimensions. You are piecing together the puzzle you have been solving for lifetimes. That's why the Forbidden Book did not merely describe the dream world. It named its layered dimensions, the planes of experience, each one more sensitive to thought, more attuned to energy, more reflective of your inner state. The clearer you become, the more access you gain. In the astral, there are no masks, only mirrors. There, you cannot lie to yourself. You cannot pretend to be someone you are not. Every emotion you carry will become your surroundings. Every belief you hold will become the structure through which you pass. So, if you believe you are powerless, the universe will reflect that. But if you change your belief, even in your sleep, the entire world around you shifts. That is how powerful you are. You are not merely traveling in dreams. You are creating them. And when you realize that, something stirs inside you. You remember the dreams of your childhood before they taught you to doubt them. before they told you they were nothing more than fantasies. You remember the tears you shed when you awoke, not out of fear, but because you had left a place that felt more like home than anywhere you had ever known. You remember soaring, knowing, speaking with luminous beings who could not be explained. You remember what it felt like to be free. That freedom was never a dream, it was a memory. And now, as you awaken, you realize this is not just about falling asleep again. It is about awakening to a new level of training. You can begin setting your intentions before you close your eyes. In the stillness of the night, as you close your eyes, there is a realm that awaits you, a realm not bound by the limitations of time, but a space where your soul drifts, unshackled, weaving between the veils of the seen and the unseen. Here, in this sacred passage, you are not merely sleeping, you are crossing thresholds. You are becoming something more, something that exists beyond the confines of the body, beyond the limits of your waking mind. Sleep is not an escape, not a retreat from the world you know. It is a gateway. You begin to hear the whispers, those subtle calls from deeper within, from the ancient wisdom that has always been with you. These voices, guides, spirits, energies speak not in words, but in vibrations that your soul recognizes. You may feel them first as a resonance in your chest, a familiar hum that sets your heart racing, or perhaps it's a memory, a shadow that flickers in your mind, yet one that feels real, like something forgotten but never truly lost. And so you listen. You listen as your guides begin to reveal themselves. Some take the shape of those you once knew in life, faces that seem impossibly close, yet just out of reach. Others manifest as pure energy, swirling in colors and frequencies beyond the grasp of the eye. But you know them, you feel them, and that feeling, that pull, is more real than anything you have known before. They begin to show you things. Scenes from past lives you have long since forgotten, like films flickering on the screen of your mind. They guide you through timelines that stretch beyond the here and now, revealing possibilities, the choices yet to come. You are shown places where souls gather between incarnations, where healing happens, where contracts are made, where light is written into the very fabric of existence. And yet, this is not fantasy, it is not imagination. You awaken each morning with a lingering truth, a deep shift that has taken place inside of you. What you saw, what you experienced in that realm, it was not a dream. It was a glimpse of something much deeper, much older. The kind of truth that shakes your core and makes you question, what if everything I knew about sleep, about waking, about life itself, is not as it seems? For when you awaken, something stirs in you, a feeling that the world, as you once understood it, is slipping away. Sleep is not the enemy, nor is it a sign of weakness. It is a powerful ally, a reminder that every night you journey through death and return from it stronger. You pass through the veils of mortality, untouched by fear, unbound by time. This knowledge, once realized, cannot be forgotten. But what happens when you begin to awaken to this truth? The systems that thrive on your ignorance begin to tremble. They fear a soul who understands that the boundaries between life and death, between waking and sleeping, are not as solid as they once seemed. They sell you distractions, offer you pills, craft routines to dull your inner vision, to sever you from the vast, infinite world within. They push you into unconsciousness, hoping you will forget, hoping you will remain in the dark. But what if you refuse to forget? The moment you take back your nights, when you step into sleep with intention, with reverence, everything changes. The programming begins to wear thin. The fear dissolves like mist in the morning sun. You find yourself making choices that are not dictated by external voices, but by the quiet wisdom of your own soul. You align with the real you, and as you do, the world around you shifts. Your vibration rises. You begin to shine. And when you shine, others notice. They feel it. It spreads not through force or power, but through frequency. A single person's awakening sends ripples through the fabric of reality. Is it really that simple? You wonder. And the answer is yes, it is that simple. The key to the universe is not in the endless pursuit of knowledge, but in remembering, in reconnecting with the truth that has always been yours. The moment you understand that sleep is not the end of your day, but the beginning of a profound, sacred journey, your life transforms. Every night becomes an opportunity for healing, for reconnection, for receiving the answers you have been searching for. The language of the soul, the messages from your guides, the visions from your higher self, they all speak to you through dreams. But not the way you've been taught. These are not meaningless illusions. They are the language of the universe, coded messages from your own spirit. And when you learn to read this language, when you decipher the symbols, the stories, the maps encoded in your dreams, you unlock a relationship with your higher self that no book, no teacher, no system could ever offer. These dreams are tailored to you, unique to your soul's journey. They cannot be interpreted by another, not completely. Yes, the symbols may be ancient, but their meanings are personal. A ladder to one soul may be a path to another's freedom. A recurring figure in your dreams may not represent a person, but a feeling, a wound, a version of yourself longing to be healed. This is the dialogue between you and eternity. And the only way to understand it is to listen. Truly listen. If you are brave enough to hear, you will begin to notice something strange. The boundary between waking and dreaming begins to blur. You will start to catch glimpses of dreamlike moments during your day, when time feels perfect, when a sudden insight strikes, when you know something is about to unfold. These are not coincidences. They are signs that the dreamer is waking within the dream. You are beginning to see the world for what it truly is, a dream within a dream. Not the illusion you were taught to believe, but a realm governed by thought, belief, and intention. And the clearer you become in sleep, the clearer you become in life. You realize that you can rewrite the story, change the outcome. Fear dissolves in the light of your newfound clarity. You start living as someone who remembers, someone who knows death is not the end. Time is not linear. Healing doesn't require years, it requires presence. Everything you need to evolve, to grow, to transform, is already inside of you. And the journey does not begin with birth, nor end with death. It begins the moment you awaken. It begins when you reclaim your nights, your dreams, your soul. When you say, no more forgetting. You don't need to retreat to the mountains. You don't need to live in silence. You simply need to pay attention, to honor the sacredness of your dream life, as much as you honor your waking life. Enter sleep like a traveler preparing to step into sacred lands. And when you do, the universe will respond. Answers will come. You begin to encounter the fragments of yourself that you never knew were missing. The confident version, the wise version, the version that never forgets. They emerge, not with grandeur, but quietly, like ancient echoes, reminding you of what it felt like to live without the weight of creation pressing down on your shoulders. They glide through life effortlessly, no longer needing permission to shine. You see, once you've glimpsed who you truly are in a dream, how can you ever behave as if you're small again in the waking world? And it isn't just an inner transformation. No. The world outside shifts too. People who were never meant to stay slip away, like shadows fading with the dawn. New faces arrive, speaking the language of your soul. Opportunities appear at the precise moment you need them, as though the universe has orchestrated this dance, this divine choreography. Synchrony is no longer a rare exception, it becomes your reality. You're no longer in tune with the illusion. You are aligned with something far deeper, your purpose. The current that pulls you towards your dreams, guiding you like a hidden compass, begins to shape every choice, every relationship, every creative impulse. You create not from ego, but from your soul. You stop chasing and start magnetizing, as if you no longer need to predict the next move. You simply listen. And in listening, you become the master of your own energy. Stay with it. Honor it. When you do, the dream world becomes no longer a place of escape, but one of intention. And that, my friend, is when the miracle happens. The ancients spoke of a double awakening. It's not just waking up within the dream. It's waking up within life itself. Daytime becomes lucid dreaming. You see the patterns, the stories, the illusions that once trapped you, and instead of being ensnared, you move through them as if you are a player within the dream. The dreamer and the dream become one. You stop reacting to life and begin living it deliberately. You become the version of yourself your soul has been nudging you toward all along. And when you reach this point, the forbidden book no longer feels forbidden. It feels familiar. For the truth is, it never went anywhere. It's always been within you, written line by line. Each time you sleep, it whispers back to you. You surrendered to it long ago. You never wanted to forget. You've always wanted to remember. Always. As your eyes close, the gates unlock not as a way to escape, but as a revelation. And once you see sleep with new eyes, you begin to revere it. You prepare for it like a sacred ceremony. For now, you understand. Each night is an initiation, each dream a message. Every moment between dimensions is an opportunity to carry something sacred with you. And yet, they worked so hard to make you forget how you are the conduit for invisible wisdom to take physical form. That your life is not random. The patterns, the struggles, the dreams, they are part of a much larger story, one unfolding along timelines you've yet to fully understand. You are the one who came to remember the script, to break it and rewrite it. You are no passive participant in this world, no background character in someone else's story. You are a soul awake to the simulation, consciously choosing to enter it with open eyes. And even if you've forgotten, especially if you've forgotten, remember, that's exactly where you need to be, right here. Right now, word by word, dream by dream, breath by breath. The masters studied the spaces in between, the liminal thresholds, where your consciousness dances between form and formlessness. These moments are not trivial. They are access points, portal moments to the very truth of your being. And if you can learn to hold your awareness, even for a few seconds in those moments, the door widens. It may begin as a glimmer, a being, or a feeling of movement without motion. Don't dismiss it. Don't label it as just a dream or a trick of the mind. The brain is merely speaking the language of this world, a world frightened of your awakening. Trust the subtle. Honor the quiet. For your soul does not shout, it whispers. And in those whispers, entire universes unfold. You will feel the shift, even in your body, even in your energy. When you wake, you will feel lighter, more grounded, more guided, more protected. People will begin to see you, not just your face or your name, but you. The you that hides behind the masks. The one waiting for someone to say, I see you beyond this world. And when that moment comes, something clicks. Life shifts from a struggle for survival to an expression of your true self. You stop asking what you should do and begin asking who you truly are. You stop seeking approval and begin materializing your truth. You stop fearing the unknown and begin trusting it. For you were there. You walked those realms. You saw what awaits behind the veil. Now, you carry that vision with you, touching everything you encounter. You create differently, speak differently. You move through this world as one who carries hidden knowledge, not in arrogance, but in serenity. As an inner flame that needs no proof, no validation. And that serenity is magnetic. It spreads. It draws people to you, not because of what you do, but because you are a bridge between worlds, standing with one foot in the tangible and the other in the unseen. This was the very thing the Forbidden Book sought to protect, not knowledge, but transformation, not words, but frequency. A frequency that cannot be faked, a knowing that cannot be memorized, it must be lived, earned in the silence of night, in the moments no one sees, in the times you choose awareness over forgetfulness. And you are already doing it. Being here means you've already begun. You've answered the call. You've stepped into the mystery. And however strange, however surreal, however unsettling your dreams may become, they are part of your evolution. As night falls, they come to you silent, unseen, yet always present. They are the pieces of a puzzle you've been assembling in your deepest slumbers. Every fear you confront, every message you unlock, every glance cast into the unseen, they are threads, delicate yet unbreakable, drawing you closer to the truth of who you truly are. The true self is not afraid. It doesn't question its worth. It never doubts its path. This life is not a punishment. It is a mission. A sacred duty to anchor the light into the dense fabric of existence. A chance to reclaim what your soul has learned in realms beyond the veil. Your dreams, they are the blueprint of the architecture of your spirit, drawn in the depths of your subconscious. They are not fleeting fragments of mind, but the silent whispers of a deeper reality. You can reach them at any time. There are no walls to climb, no permissions to seek, no approval required. All you need is the will to remember the truth that slumbers within you, to face the darkness that rises before you, not with fear, but with trust. Trust in yourself. Trust that you are more than the noise of the world, for the world will always try to keep you asleep, to convince you that what you know is not real, to drown your feelings beneath its thunderous cacophony. But you do not have to listen anymore. You have seen too much, felt too deeply, heard the call too clearly. And now, there is no turning back. You do not want to turn back, because what awaits you here, in this moment, is everything you've been searching for: truth, power, freedom, harmony. A life that is not just dreamed of at night, but lived in the waking hours as well. A life where reality bends to the frequency of your being. A reality where your frequency is no longer fractured, it is whole, sovereign, awake. And this awakening, this profound realization, begins every night as you close your eyes. As you drift into the silence, the borders of forgetfulness begin to blur, and in that moment, you step into remembrance. This is where everything changes. Because once you understand that sleep is not a departure from life, but a deeper layer of it, everything shifts. Your sleep becomes not a time for rest, but a training ground for your evolution. It becomes a sacred space where you align with the forces that have always been surrounding you, waiting for you to notice them. Ancient teachings, whispered through the winds of time, revered the night. Mystics prayed before they slept. Wise ones taught the art of dream control. Prophets saw visions while they slept. They were not escaping reality. They were touching the blueprint behind it. They were slipping through the cracks of the illusion and drawing wisdom from a place where truth resides untamed and untouched. The place where consciousness roams free. A place you have access to, always have. There is no gatekeeper, no secret password. The only key is awareness. The only requirement is intention. To let go of your illusions and step into the truth of your soul. Every night is an invitation. And when you start treating it as such, you are no longer merely sleeping. You are traveling, you are communicating, you are creating. And creation, true creation, is the highest form of remembrance. When you bring back the insights from the other side and translate them into art, into words, into life itself, you begin to build bridges. You allow others to feel what you feel. You become the mirror, the transmitter, the spark. And this spark is what will ignite the collective. Not through force, not through argument, but through the quiet power of one who walks through life with a light in their eyes and a calm in their soul. Someone who has seen beyond the veil and now carries this truth in every word, every room they enter, every breath they take. This is the role you are stepping into. When you reclaim your dreams, and cease to dismiss them as mere fantasies. You become a lighthouse in a world that has forgotten the sea. And there is no need to convince anyone, no need to prove anything. You simply must live it authentically, live it consciously, because this is not about learning something new. This is about unlearning the greatest lie of all, the lie that you are just your body, that you are just your mind, that you are just a spectator in a vast universe. You are not a spectator. You are the observer, the dreamer, the experiencer, the creator. And every time you close your eyes with intention, surrendering to the realms within, you touch that truth. This is what they've tried to keep from you. Not because knowledge is dangerous, but because it is liberating. When you stop fearing the unknown, when you stop clutching at control, when you stop doubting yourself, that's when you remember who you truly are. This life is not happening to you. It is happening through you. Real transformation begins when you stop waiting for permission to enter the mystery. When you stop waiting to be perfect. When you stop waiting to be an expert. All you have to do is be. Bow your head in reverence. Open yourself before the pull of the tide. Listen when the symbols speak. And when the truth becomes too loud to ignore, act. Because the truth will find you. It has already found you. In the dreams you cannot forget. In the voices that call your name. In the visions that transform you. This was never a fantasy. It was a call to awaken. And now you are awake. Not because someone told you the truth, but because you feel it in your bones, in your blood, in the silence between your thoughts. The forbidden book was never locked away in a dusty library. It was always in plain sight. It was always there in your dreams, in your memories, in the silent knowing that rises when the world becomes quiet enough to hear it. You are the book. You are the secret. You came here to remember. And now that you've remembered, now that you feel the electricity flowing through you, you cannot unknow it. You cannot unsee it. And you never needed to. All you needed was to live it. To let it shape your choices, your vision, your voice. So the next time you fall asleep, keep your eyes open. Not physically, but speak with your soul. Speak with the ones who await you beyond the veil. Intend to meet your guides. To heal, to explore, to rise. And when you wake, write your confidence into the world. Your nights are no longer wasted. Your dreams are no longer forgotten. Your sleep is no longer unconscious. You have broken the spell. And now, every time your eyes close, you do not fall into darkness. You enter the source. You enter yourself. You remember.